What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to give you guys a very quick update on the markets, give you guys a warning about the earnings that are coming out. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Webull link. If you deposit any amount of money, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks. If you deposit $500 or more, you're guaranteed 20. If you deposit $2,000 or more, you're guaranteed 40. The offer ends very soon, in just about 2 days. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the markets. So right now, we're starting to see a lot of buyers stepping in defending the markets as we're getting ready for the big tech earnings. But if you're holding anything overnight, just be very careful, because I do have a warning about what's about to happen. So for earnings, okay, after the market closes today, we have three big ones. We have Snap, we have Google/Alphabet, and then we also have AMD announcing their earnings. And Google is going to be the biggest one. Whatever they announce is going to cause some high volatility. So get ready for a very big move overnight. Now, what's happening is for Alphabet, right? We're expecting Q3 earnings after the bell. And we're going to be looking to see how things end up going with them, especially after all the things that are going on involving antitrust actions and things just like that with lawsuits and such. So it's very important news. Looking forward, we're expecting an EPS of about $1.85 with revenue of $86 billion. So will we get to the $86 billion mark? We'll just have to wait and see how things end up going for them. So I just want to make it very clear that investors tend to be very strict with every single one of these different revenue streams, from cloud revenue, not to mention YouTube advertising. So we'll see how things end up going. But just know that as far as Google is going, or Alphabet, we are bullish right now from a technical standpoint. Right now, we're trying to pump, but that does not necessarily guarantee anything, right? Just like how Tesla was dumping, approaching its earnings, all of a sudden earnings came out and things started running. So we will see which way Google ends up going. Will we see a big pump or a dump? Just be prepared. But if you're betting on this, I think there's most likely going to be a big move. Just be very careful, because you never know what's going to happen with these earnings. And it's going to have a big effect on the broader markets. All right. So as far as SPY goes, we are bullish. We're trying to push higher. But I do want to warn you guys about something. So we have this range on SPY. Every time we hit 585 to 584, we do reject on it. And every time we've been hitting 578 to 575, we tend to get bought back up. So as we're pushing a little bit higher, we're getting closer to the upper end of this range between 584 and 585. Will we hit this and then reject, or will we end up projecting from here? We'll have to wait and see if we remain in the range or not. Can Google help us break out of the range, or do we get a rejection? You want to be very careful as we're approaching some tough resistance on SPY. For ES, it's the same thing. We're trying to push, but we do have a tough resistance closer to about 5,900. The closer we get to that, the riskier it's going to become. So just be very mindful of that. We'll see how things end up going with earnings coming out. Nvidia is pumping very nicely. It's about 142. I did call this out in my morning video. Break this resistance, and we're looking at the high up here to be retested. I do want to call out that we could draw a trend line just like this on Nvidia. So right here, you could draw out this trend line just to see this resistance that we're approaching. Will we get a rejection off this or not? We'll just have to wait and see. But just be careful, guys. Nvidia is still holding up quite well, but it could go either way depending on these earnings that are coming out. So we'll just have to give this a little bit more time to pan out. So with that being said, I do anticipate a little bit more upside potential. We could get closer to 142s, but then we'll see if we get some kind of rejection or not. We're still getting very tight. For Bitcoin, although we're trying to break out right here, we're approaching 73,000. As of right now, it remains more bullish, but we will see how things end up developing after earnings come out. So look for 73,000's resistance. If we get a rejection, this imbalance is going to be our first target at 72,383. That's going to be our target if we end up getting a rejection. So we will see which way we end up going. For NQ, we look a little bit more bullish. We're basically approaching 20,750. It's about 20,800, around this range. If we end up losing 20,600, we're looking for a dip back down. But as of right now, NQ looks a little bit more bullish. For the QQQ, we look more bullish. We're at 500. Once again, we're not that far from all-time highs on the triple Q. We're very close to them. This imbalance could technically push us higher. It's about 503. It is possible it goes a little bit higher. But despite this pump, we're still in a rising wedge-like structure, so we will see how well this ends up holding up. Google is going to be a big one, so get ready for their earnings. And then finally, Apple looks more bullish. If we break past 235, okay, we're going to be looking for a bigger pump. We do have a gap to fill up above, so we'll see if we end up going all the way up there. So we're looking for this resistance near 235. If this breaks out, we're looking for these highs up here to be retested in this volatility area. If we end up losing 231 points, then we're going to be dipping back down. So overall, we do look more bullish on Aapl. So I'm probably going to conclude the video from here, guys. The IWM is still kind of like range bound. If we hold above 221, we could be pushing for 223 again. But if we lose that, we do have a gap to fill. So if 221 fails us, we have a gap to fill down to 218. Just keep that in mind. For Coinbase, we're dipping here. I did mention to you all it might be dipping a little bit lower. We could be retesting 215, so be mindful of that. Amazon tends to move like Google, so we'll see how Google's earnings ends up affecting it. It could attempt to push up higher. Will Alphabet help Amazon pump more? We could be attempting to break this range, and if that's the case, we're looking for 192.75 to 194 as our targets. If we get rejected again, we're going to be falling back down to 187, which is a big test on Amazon right now. Meta looks more bullish. It got some bullish news with these nice upgrades, so it could be approaching the 600 area if we continue. As of right now, it looks more bullish approaching earnings, so we'll see how it goes. Even Microsoft is more bullish. Tech is pushing right now, which is why the QQQ is pumping. We're looking for 435 as our potential target. And finally, like I said before, Google remains a little bit more bullish right now, but we will see what happens after its earnings. So if you're holding anything overnight, this is your final warning. Be careful, guys. Just know there are risks involved in holding anything overnight in the markets. And it's up to you. You can make a lot of money or you may lose money. So just be very careful. I'm just here to give you guys that final warning. Big tech earnings have started, so get ready for some high volatility. Thank you for listening, guys. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours for another another update, and peace out.